I take you on a tour. Let me put you on to some new work. Grilling this heat. I got the word on the street. Take heed, introduce you to some brand new things. Food for the soul, till you gotta blow. Food worth forking, take it on the go. In tune, serving it up on the road. Tell you all about it on the special. This here's something you don't wanna miss. Hit you every week with a new dish.
What is happening, everybody? What is up? It is Food Worth Forking. Welcome to another episode of Food Worth Forking. I am your host, Laura Williams, and I am excited to be here today. It's another Wednesday night, and we are here, and you have chosen to share your Wednesday night with me, which is fantastic. Hold on here. I had to turn on all my mics. We have some comments already. What? How you doing? What's up, Jason? How you doing? So listen, if this is your first time watching or listening to Food Worth Forking, again, welcome. I'm your host, Laura Williams, and Food Worth Forking is all about food, dating, and lifestyle. So food, all things culinary, because we all got to eat. Dating. What is dating like after 40? What are we out here doing? And lifestyle. What is happening in the world around us? What is worth taking in? What's worth digesting? What is worth talking about? Now, before we keep going, there's a little house cleaning we have to do. If you have not subscribed, why haven't you? Why haven't you subscribed to Food Worth Forking? If you haven't, please do subscribe to Food Worth Forking on YouTube and hit that bell to get your notifications for all upcoming content, all new episodes, right? So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. So now we are about to get into it. Last week I wasn't here. Didn't have a show last week, but I'm back this week. And what I didn't get to talk about, which some people are still talking about, is the Super Bowl. Now, I think this year's Super Bowl was not even probably. This was the blackest Super Bowl there was that we will have. I don't know if we'll ever have a black Super Bowl like this again. It was black and it was woke. I mean, it was let's go through it. I got to go through it. So I got to read all my notes for what happened. So just so you know, my team is Philly. It's okay. We're going to come back next year. But we had two leading black quarterbacks. Huge. Never had it. Hopefully we'll have it again next year, but we'll see, right? So we had two black quarterbacks. We had the national anthem sang by Sheryl Lee Ralph. People were trying to talk about why we're separating. We're not separating, but that's a whole different story, so we won't talk about that tonight, right? So we had Sheryl Lee Ralph, who sang the Black National Anthem. Then we had Babyface, who sang America the Beautiful, and he turned it into an R&B ballad. Like, who else could turn America the Beautiful into an R&B ballad except for Babyface? Then we had Doug Williams, who was introduced to the crowd holding the Lombardi Trophy, and he was the first black quarterback ever to start a Super Bowl. So another big moment. Then we had an all-women team fly over before the game started. That's a woke moment. I mean, that's the first new. Then we had Chris Stapleton. He sang the Star Spangled Banner. But listen, that's probably one of the best versions of the Star Spangled Banner since Whitney Houston. I mean, the best. He brought soul. He brought feeling. That was just another great, huge moment. I don't know if anybody, I downloaded some of Chris Stapleton's music because I didn't know all of it, but I was in here like, sing, Chris, sing. You better sing the Star Spangled Banner. Somebody better talk about Chris. Y'all know about Chris? Anybody? What are y'all saying? He is good, Jay. Jason said he's good. He is. Yes. Oh, wait. Are you saying boo because I'm a Phillies fan? We'll talk about that later. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. We're not going to do that. Nope. 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 We have to work together. You'll be okay. So then, of course, you had the star of the um you have the star of the Super Bowl, like what we all have been waiting for. And she holds the number two slot for most watched Super Bowl halftime, and that was Rihanna. Like she came, she brought it, she was confident. She showed up like I'm okay with just it being just me because I'm gonna kill this. And she did it. She did it. And then she said, and I'm up high on this platform and I'm pregnant. I mean, like I don't know what else. I know people had a lot of things to say, but I don't know what else you could say. I thought she was phenomenal. And she looked beautiful and she had on red, which is my favorite color, so it doesn't matter. Red, yes. But there were a lot of other great moments, and I'm sure some of you may know, or there may be some other moments that I missed, but there is one other big moment that was like the cherry on the cake. Like this was a big moment. I don't think we hadn't seen it before, but there was a young woman, Justina Miles, who was the sign language interpreter, who was interpreting while Rihanna was doing her halftime. And she was like the breakout star. Oh, she was a breakout star of the Super Bowl, period. Like people have been talking about her on every single talk show, morning show. Everyone is talking about Justina. So if you didn't see it, if you didn't see her, go watch it because she killed it. She killed it. So she is now famous from signing, which also brought more inclusion, right? It brought more inclusion, and hopefully they'll do more for the hearing impaired because that was just a big moment for them. So there was inclusion, there was all this blackness and wokeness. It was great. Then we have people in here talking about go Eagles. I'm gonna let you have the moment, but okay, that's all right. So I just had to talk about the Super Bowl and what I thought, because I thought it was wonderful, and I think more people will be watching again next year, hopefully, to see who they're going to bring, because I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can outdo this year. They might be able to. I don't know who that would be, but we'll see. So here we are. It is February. We are 2 months into 2023, going into March next week. And we're at the end of Black History Month. And life has definitely been happening these last 2 months. And so in our community, in the Black community, we've kind of we've had a lot of tragedies, but there was one that kind of took center, I guess I don't know if I want to say center stage, but was definitely the forefront of, another case of police brutality that was filmed that we see, not that it doesn't happen every day, but it was just brought to the forefront on a larger platform. And because this is I was trying to think how I wanted to I know what I wanted to do, how I wanted to contribute, what do I want to talk about, how can I use my platform to talk about it, or to get people involved, or at least have a conversation about what's happening, especially what's happening to our Black men. I said, all right, well, let's see if I can get some of my friends together and have a conversation. And so tonight we're going to dive into the mask that the Black man wears and what that means. And so I am going to introduce my guests. I have 6 beautiful Black men who are on this show tonight, and we're going to have a conversation, and I'm going to introduce them. So let me get started. And thank you. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm not missing anyone in these comments. Hey, Jermaine, what's up? I think yes. So we are good, and we're gonna get started here. So I'm gonna go through my introduction of everyone who's here tonight. Right. So here we go. Let's get this going here. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, first up is Chris Smith. Chris is a friend of the podcast, and he's a friend of mine. He is a New York native, a freelance writer, and a contributor for various publications and websites. And he's also a lover of hip hop and the artists and the art world. Yep. Next up is Sam Green. Sam was raised in the Bronx here in New York. He is a musician at heart, as well as a working professional in the advertising field. Connecting with others and building meaningful relationships is at the core of who he is. Sam was the guest. Also, just so you all know, Sam was my very first guest for my live series of Food Worth Forking here. My first guest in my hot kitchen. Next up is Josiah Goins, who is a recent college graduate, a native of Columbus, Ohio, and a huge sports fan. Go Buckeyes, I should say, I guess. Go Bucks, because I know he's a Buckeye fan, excuse me. And just so you know, he's also my nephew. But I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to let it go. Oh, next we have Malachi Washington. Malachi is new to the Food Worth Forking family. Welcome, Malachi. Malachi is also known as Mali Ways. He's an aspiring recording artist and a native of New Jersey, raised in Brooklyn, New York. Another newbie to the podcast, new to the Food Worth Forking family, is Stefan Smith. Stefan is a self-employed entrepreneur and aspiring music executive. He has a passion for music, good food, you're in the right place, sports, and being able to help and inspire others in the same ways that he has helped and inspired, or has how he has been helped and inspired. And last, but definitely not least, Toby Brazwell. Toby is a friend of the podcast, has been here before. He is the co-host of a podcast called Riffs on Riffs, motivational speaker, lover of music, a singer, and a friend of mine. So I am going to pull these brothers in. Hold on one second, please. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Laura, how's it going?
Good, good, good. Hi, Josiah.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. It's good. Sam.
Hey, Laura.
Sam is here. Toby, what's up?
Hey, now. How's it going?
All right, Stefan. Stefan is new to FWF. Welcome, welcome.
Good evening, good evening.
And we have Malachi.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy you guys are here. This is going to be great.
Hey, thanks for having
It's
us.
going to be great. We're going to try out. Yes, yes. So, okay, just to get warmed up, be relaxed. I normally start off with some speed round questions. So we're just going to go around the room, go around the screen. And first question is, what's your I never knew that moment? I never knew that moment. Sam, we're going to start with you.
Ooh, let's see. I never, I never knew that moment. I feel like I got a lot of these. But I think just recently I learned I never knew that Black Eyed Peas was eaten specifically on New Year's.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh wow! Oh yes, in the Black community,
In the
I think
Black
other people
community.
do it too,
And
but specifically, and I think people even put money in it. Like there's like a quarter or something in there too sometimes, and whoever I forget what it means. I should look that up. Like, do you ever heard of it? You ever heard that?
No, that's a new one too. Are we
That's new
still
too.
eating it with that quarter? That's what I got.
I know there's like money or something in the Black Eyed Peas. I can't remember,
Wow.
but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. But yes, okay, I'll let you go about that Black Eyed Peas. All right, Malachi. I never knew that moment.
I never knew. There's too many to count, but like more recently, I guess, just the journey of music. A lot of these artists that I grew up listening to, you know, they make it look so easy, but behind the scenes, it's a whole different story. So,
Oh, you never knew there was work.
the amount of patience,
The amount of work.
wow.
Okay, we have to talk about that. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Okay, Stefan.
Okay. I think something that I've I've been looking more into, like, buying a house and things of that nature. So I'm learning a lot more about different, mortgage programs and things of that nature. So I never knew these programs existed, and so it's one of those I never knew that moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there for first time. Your first time homeowner. Is that what you're talking about? Yes.
Yes.
A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff out there. All right, Toby, what you got?
Yeah, I get mine's music related. I never knew that John Legend actually worked for a financial consulting company or what have you before he was John Legend. So I never knew that he actually worked in that field in the financial sector before he had started his illustrious career as a music artist. I always thought that was really, really interesting, being an Ohio native myself. I love that story. So, yeah.
Oh, I never knew that either.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Josiah.
Oh, I was looking on Twitter yesterday. It was saying something about Jack Nicklaus. He's a golfer. I don't know if y'all know anything about Jack Nicklaus, but I don't know much about him either. But he was saying that he was a alum from Ohio State, which I never knew.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know. And he's a pretty good golfer. I don't know how good he is, but he's pretty good. So, is he good? Do y'all know?
I have no idea, and I did not know that.
No, I didn't know either. So, but
Yeah,
that's most recent.
No, we have some good ones. Those some good ones. Okay, Chris.
Okay, so there's a bunch of I never knew moments. The most recent one ties into Mardi Gras, which we just celebrated, and I did not know that it was customary to only cook red beans and rice on a Monday because that was wash day. Like this is, so you had red beans and rice. That was your food for the whole week. So I never knew that it was always a Monday meal cooked for the rest of the week so that you get your other chores out the way.
Oh.
Okay.
I never.
Wow. That is.
Wait, so is every Monday or like always or just Mardi Gras?
It was pretty much like every Monday. Like I've found this out like a couple days ago because someone had mentioned red beans and rice, and they were like, "Yeah, normally we always used to cook it on a Monday," and I'm like, "Really?" Like, yeah, it was only Mondays that you see people cooking it because we had all these other work chores the rest of the day and everything, wash or whatever. So it was always associated with wash day, which was always a Monday.
Wow.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Y'all came with some good ones. I was like, wait, I don't know about that. Didn't know what this. We didn't learn. We've learned. This was a learning session.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. So next question, last question. Last meal on earth. What is the one thing you have to have? Go, Chris.
Wow. Okay. So that's gonna be jerk chicken, rice and peas, cornbread.
Oh wow.
And I would have to polish that off with probably sweet potato pie. Yeah.
Well, okay. All right for that meal. Yes, you will be asleep.
Yeah.
You will be going to sleep, my brother.
I'm going to Florida. I'm going the right way.
Yes. Like I'm ready. I'm good. I'm good. All right, Sam, what you got?
Oh man, I'm torn, but I'm gonna keep it very black as well. I'm gonna have to go with my favorite: Southern fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, candy yams, and maybe some water. I don't know.
You don't need no water. You ain't gonna need no
You need
water.
no water.
You are not gonna need any water. You good. You
Make sure
just
my skin is
you might as well
clear.
go ahead and say Kool-Aid. You might as well go ahead and take it. You might
All
as
right,
well
let me get
go
the
ahead and
red. Let
say
me get the
and
red
then
flavor. I'll
Kool-Aid.
take the red flavor in
Then
that case.
the and the red. And by the way, Sam makes great fried chicken. That's what we cooked on that podcast.
Oh,
Um. Okay, Josiah.
Ooh, I'll say some good barbecue. Probably like some
Mm.
brisket, some ribs,
Mm.
some mac and cheese, uh, cornbread, and then some drink. I would say some sweet tea.
Okay,
Something simple.
y'all serious?
Something
Oh,
simple.
simple.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's simple.
it's a nice simple meal.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. All right, Stefan.
For myself, I'm probably gonna go with some turkey wings with cabbage, yellow rice, and yeah, I probably just go with that. Keep it simple, last meal, so I could just get it out the way. But you can never go wrong with that.
Never.
Okay. What kind of turkey wings?
I guess you can say like smothered. I guess I'm not sure how to. I've
Okay.
never myself
Make them
cooked.
good. Make them good, Stefan. Now this is it. Like make them good. So we got some smothered turkey wings. That's it. That is it. All right, Toby.
So just so we clear, we're talking about last meal. Is that what we're talking about? You said the last meal, and then my second question would be, can we get seconds? So I mean, we had. I just want to make sure we on the
I
same.
mean,
All right.
I probably,
All right. Now, so
probably.
let me preface this by saying that these brothers have said some very tasty dishes. All right. I would gladly take any of these dishes that have been said, but I'm going to go a little bit different. All right. I'm going to say curry chicken. All right. Curry
Mm.
chicken. That, yes.
Yes.
With some samosas and some lassi, like mango lassi. That
Ooh.
I'm done. I'm done. I'll tap out myself. I'll do it.
Yes. 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 All right, Malachi.
Okay.
You're-
For me, it doesn't matter what kind of pasta it is, but as long as it got pesto sauce on it and some breaded chicken,
Mm.
I'm gonna need me a Caesar salad and
Okay.
I'm gonna get some water to wash it down. And for dessert, I'm gonna have a chocolate lava cake. Eat to my stomach.
Oh my.
Oh, child.
See?
Oh
You got,
my.
you got
He said,
Sam over here calling the football game over here. Like, it's good.
Yeah. He made me feel good. I felt bad for the water choice. Now I don't.
I was like, oh,
You
okay.
know. You
Just a
know.
little, then some water. Okay, no problem. Oh, no problem. Woo! Y'all will be rested. Y'all will be resting well. You will be resting well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh.
Indeed.
Okay. Listen. Natalie says yes, curry chicken. I know, y'all. I know. Okay, so let's get into this convo. So as we know, um, life is challenging, and not to get too deep, but it probably it will. It is that, but life is challenging. What's been happening over the last what's been happening, but more so, let's talk about the last couple of months and how we've started January, February, and the not only dealing, with things that just happen in the world around us and what's happening, but also just what we're seeing, what we just saw with Tyree Nichols tragedy. Um, I wrote in my post just that Black men wear a mask. I mean, we all do, but there's a mask, I think, that's worn, or a shield in this world to be, to be safe, for you to be safe at work, to be safe in public spaces, and maybe, depending, maybe even at home. And that mask doesn't allow you to cry, or to feel pain, or to be vulnerable at times, or it just it you I think we're so used to wearing it that it's just a part of um it's a part of who you are. So my first question is, being a Black man, do you feel seen? And when I ask that, it's, do you feel loved, appreciated, even appreciated in your struggle in the world? Um, and how has that been, do you feel validated? How has that been for you? So I'm going to, you know what, Toby, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, all right. um, I feel we're seen but not appreciated. I feel like we're seen but not appreciated. That's my perspective. I certainly don't feel safe. Having a young son. My son's 14, and every time the older he gets, the more these stories start to, affect me and kind of strike a little bit closer to home. Um, People continuously say things are getting better, uh, but we're still having these conversations. And this particular incident was particularly hurtful. I mean, I couldn't even watch the video. I couldn't watch the footage. I just couldn't. That was a personal decision, um, because it was done by Black men, Black officers, which is a whole nother thing. I mean, so it just, police officers have just historically, just have not valued the life of Black men. That's how I feel, and you know, I know folks don't agree with me. Not saying anybody on this this platform disagrees with me, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like enough people are doing anything about it. So it's very frustrating. So I feel seen. I don't feel appreciated, and I don't feel loved, and I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. We all had to talk with our fathers,
Mm-hmm.
or some Black, father figure, some older figures told us what the rules were. The rules were what? You get pulled over, you be polite, put your hands on the steering wheel, don't be disrespectful, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. It seems like it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore, and that part is kind of frustrating, more than frustrating for me.
Mm-hmm. Um, with that, and Sam, I'm going to ask you this question. Do you think that the rules have changed when you say, and what I mean by the rules of, Toby just mentioned, okay, you have to put your hands on the steering wheel, and they're, having the talk. So from the time you maybe had your first talk, have those rules changed? Have you had to add anything else to, to that protocol?
I want to say not really, because I feel like there's not much you can really do, but try to carry yourself in the best way that you think is acceptable, in their eyes. So, and I mean, dare I even say it, hope and pray for the best. Because it seems like, kind of like what Toby's saying, almost like no matter what you do, it's not enough. So, I think you just really have to just really kind of cover yourself. Like me personally, like I'm a man of God, at the core of who I am. So I pray everywhere I go, make sure I have that spiritual covering, and
Mm-hmm.
then just act accordingly, and then and follow the rules and do everything that I'm supposed to do, and that's it. And so I think the rules really hasn't changed um much, just from what I've learned growing up, to if that situation were to happen, being stopped and whatnot, to like, and like how much more can I simplify it, which is you can't. So, and that's why it's so much even more fearful, or just frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stefan, what are your thoughts? Because you're a young man, and also you grew up in the Obama, like Obama was your president. So it gives, I would think, and you can please tell us, you would have looked at it a little differently, because thinking like, oh, okay, we had our first Black president. I'm growing up with this person as our president. So that's your I would think that's your normal.
Absolutely. Just piggybacking off of, both what Toby and Sam said, and also to, come back to what you said as well. I feel like, it's easy to have, role models, and it's easy for us to see ourselves a certain way. But,
Mhm.
what does it mean if they don't see us that way? It's easy for us to, portray ourselves in a certain way. But if they see us as a certain way, that's just what they see us as. And I think that comes down to, a lack of understanding and a lack of willingness to understand, to see us. I feel like that's what Toby and Sam are getting at. It's a situation where they aren't seeing us, we're not appreciated by them, and they don't see us as equals. So it's harder for us to navigate, because we have to wear a mask to feel like we are good enough to just to keep our lives, to stay alive. And that's the part that kind of sucks with the situation, where they're supposed to be protecting us, but instead we are, for example, if you get pulled over by the police, a traffic stop, you're worrying about if you're gonna come out of that with your life or not. So
Um, Chris, did you want to add anything to that?
Um, Really, I'm in agreement with Toby, Sam, and Stefan. Like, it's hard to be in the position that we're in daily, to be seen but diminished by that sight. Um, in a lot of ways, it's harder to accept that, in a lot of ways, that they tell us, well, there's progress, there's this person to point to, like, you've had a Black president, you have this figures, but what does that mean if my life could be ended at someone else's whim because of a preconception of who I am already? You know what I mean? Like, going back to what you had mentioned earlier with what happened with Tyree Nichols, I initially covered what happened, and I chose not to see the video because I had access to the actual police report. And reading the details of what happened to him made me sick to my stomach. And even worse, that it was done by someone who looked like me. And I have had relatives in law enforcement, and even they will tell me, how they feel. And if they're telling me they're vulnerable, they don't feel seen, they feel diminished, then what hope do I have? The only hopes that I really have are the village of support in my family, blood and chosen. Faith, like Sam had mentioned, I am someone who's spiritual, and just my own wits and self-preservation. Toby mentioned having a talk. Like, I've had that talk with my father, my uncles. You know, the bigger problem is that it's cyclical. We keep having a conversation, but a conversation takes two parties that are willing to listen. You can't have it if one side, which is the system, is willfully choosing not to hear what we're saying.
Right, right. In today's climate, in the climate of the world, how has your reaction or the reaction of those around you surprised you over the last few years leading up to today? So Josiah, I'm going to ask you that question.
Well, it's been like since I've been young, like it's gotten better. Like the people I surround myself with, and like the community. When things like this, we come together and we support one another and we love one another. and I think that's okay. But in terms of like the outside world, other than us, there's some people who come with us and want to love and rally one another and be around one another, but it's hard. It really is hard when things like this happen. And it's like, as Black men, it feels like you're all alone. It really does. And growing up, I didn't experience nothing like this. I remember the first time Trayvon Martin was killed. It was 2012, February 26th, I want to say. And that was the day I remember that because that was the day my niece was born. And from there on out, it's gotten worse. It feels like as time goes on, you hear about this stuff almost every day, and it's like it's not something you can get used to. It's not something you can be numb to. It's just every time you hear this stuff, hear about someone, a Black man especially, dying, it's hard. But you know, have I seen a difference in people's reaction to answer what you say? It's gotten better, but it still needs to get better. You know, there's still room for people to grow and to understand where we're coming from and to love and accept us for who we are, not for who they see us, but for who we are.
Okay. Malachi, I asked you that same question. How has your reaction or the reaction of those around you, has it surprised you? Has it been any different, or is it what you've expected?
If I could just say, I think there's duality in everything. Like, um, to tie it to the last question as well. Like, I feel like as Black men, we're seen for, you know, the right reasons and the wrong reasons. Because, like Black men and Black women, we're like the blueprint, and like we walk with so much power and just influence in everything we do that it can come off as intimidating sometimes. And I feel like we don't. Sometimes you're not even looking for trouble, and it could just find you. Like one time, I was shooting a music video, and like the cops were looking for somebody that wasn't me, and they said I fit the description, the typical Black male description, and like 8 cop cars pulled up on me, and then like I had some peers with me, but they didn't say anything to them. They were only focused on me. But in that moment, like I just took a deep breath, and I didn't call my parents or anything, because like I just said to myself, God got me. Like I didn't feel anything in that moment. But I just feel it can be shaky sometimes. Like some things get worse.
I get that. I understand that. Chris, I'm going to start with you. How important is it to make white people and the outside world feel comfortable around you? And at the same time, allowing your light to shine and for you to move forward?
Um, the best answer that I have for that is that I'm not wholly concerned with the opinions of white people or the outside world to who I am, to be honest.
Okay.
I govern who I am, as someone, a Black man who was raised, best way he could by his parents, who's got a great support system, who knows his value inside and out, and that's how I greet the world. And in that sense, I walk with respect and love for myself, and I give that to anyone who will meet me in kind with that. It's how I've chosen to operate. It's what protects me, even though I know it makes me more vulnerable.
Okay. Stefan?
I just to piggyback off of that, I feel like that's the problem with everything now, is that we feel like we have to become comfortable with everything, and that defeats the whole purpose of us, being human. The purpose is for us to socialize. It's for us to, we don't know everything, so the purpose is for us to get to know something. That's why knowledge is power. That's why we have to read up on things. That's why we have to interact and experience things, because it forces us to learn more and understand more, which would be able to allow us to navigate the world together. And I feel like that's the problem. Like, we feel like we have to make the space comfortable for other people, when in reality the space is for all of us, so we should all share the space. So it's like,
Mhm.
I feel like it's unnecessary to have to make somebody else comfortable with me. It's either you accept me or not. So I feel like, it's imperative that, I say this, that, you have to be comfortable and maintain, like, Chris was saying, be comfortable in yourself when you're expressing yourself. You have to be yourself.
Indeed. Indeed. Toby, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I totally respect both the responses to that answer or to that question. I'm in sales, right? It's my professional job, right? So I will say that um, I kind of, my perspective on things might be a little bit different because I'm coming from a sales perspective. Uh,
Hmm.
I work, have to navigate through a lot of white spaces. All right, so being a 6'3" black dude coming into a situation like that, I have to
Hmm.
carry myself in a certain way. So you talk about masks, and that really resonates with me. I am very used to feeling uncomfortable in spaces like that, and working past that to get comfortable and then try to make others very comfortable around me. And I've noticed that when I work hard to make others comfortable around me and not making such an effort like I'm changing myself, I mean, this is me.
Hmm. Hmm.
I talk a lot. I'm talk dominant. You got to forgive me, right? That's just who I am, right? Talking to people and sharing, my experience, I find that through conversation, we find a lot of similarities, right? Yeah, we different, but at the same time, you went to church, I went to church, right? You believe in good works, I believe in good works. When you pray, we know that, without uh prayer without works is dead. When the queen said, hey, when you pray, move your feet. It's the same thing. This is a little bit different. It's the same thing. So I really try to work on getting people comfortable enough so that they actually will listen. Actually will listen. If you look at when you pour water on the ground, right? When you're trying to fertilize the ground, when you really want the ground to kind of soak it in, sometimes the ground can be so hard and resistant to it, the water will not soak in. It just
Hmm.
it just goes everywhere else. It doesn't sink in. I need the water to sink in. I needed to sink in. So when I'm talking about my experience, if I'm talking to white folks, they have no understanding and no perspective of what it means to be a black male. They just don't. Very similar to all of us, except for Laura, trying to understand what it means to be a woman. We don't. We don't understand. So I got to soak that in. I got to soak it in. I got to listen. And it takes effort. Now, if it takes effort for a black man to hear what a black woman's got to say, right? Then it's certainly going to take a lot of effort for a white person to hear what a black person's got to say. It's going to take effort. It's going to take patience. I'm not saying that I'm not trying to give him an excuse. Not what
Hmm.
I'm saying.
Hmm.
I'm just saying that, as far as that comfortable thing, right? As far as, making them comfortable enough so that they can listen, but then correcting them when they're wrong. So that's just me.
I get that. I understand that. Sam?
I agree with it with everything that was said, especially what Chris said about not focusing on too much about what they think. But I know everywhere I go, I just know I got to show up as myself, and and with that, it's there's the basics, showing people respect, being polite, all the things we were taught when we were younger. But then, just fully showing up as my black self. Whether it's in a professional setting, whether it's in a casual setting, just showing up as me every time. And I think if people are uncomfortable by that, I mean, it is really on them. And you definitely don't want to step on any toes and ruffle any feathers. But sometimes it's issues that we don't even see is what I'm getting at. And those things is really out of our control. But yeah, I think just showing up as yourself, as your true respectful self. For me personally, I am best known for my sense of humor. I love making people laugh. That's a common thing we all have. We all love to laugh if something is funny. So I kind of lead with my humor a lot, or my energy, my high, high level energy. And a lot of the times people are drawn to that. So I think if you show up as your true self, people have no choice but to feel comfortable, and those that don't, they just have to learn it on their own. Um, but that's kind of my take on that.
Well, if I may challenge that. So what happens, and I get that people will, um, it's, and correct me if I'm wrong, like what I'm hearing is accept me for who I am.
Hmm.
Here I am, and I'm showing up authentically black. This is who this is who I am. But
Hmm.
what happens when that's challenged? What happens when, yes, yes, we have the choice, or you have the choice to walk away, but if you say, for example, you're trying to get a home, and you want this house, but you see it, you see the block.
Hmm.
So how do you process that? Or, what do you do? Is it like, well, okay, I'm gonna go to another house, or no, I want this house, or like, what do you do about those blocks? Because
Hmm.
showing up as you is great.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
know that, right? It's great because I want to be able to show up as me, but showing up as me is not all it's hard.
Yeah.
So how
Uh, I mean, yeah, I think it's either two ways. I think unless you, I mean, you could say, oh, you could go where you're comfortable, but
Mhm.
um, but I feel like adjusting who you are is nothing wrong with it, because you know you got to know also how to cater to your right audience, right? So I think
Mhm.
knowing who you're in front of is another part of that,
Mhm.
and with the foundation of still being yourself,
Yeah,
so I think that's a piece to it as well. Um, I mean, nobody's perfect, but
true.
again, I mean, and this is like going back to obviously the mask, putting on a mask and maybe
Mhm.
not showing up as your full self because you don't feel comfortable with how they may, take you. So yeah, I think just knowing who your audience is, knowing who you're in front of, and just really staying committed to, okay, if I want to be here, this is how I'm going to be while I'm here. I mean, I have to make a few adjustments, and I can live with that, or just completely, not being there and going where
Mhm.
you do feel comfortable,
True. Or
so to
or
speak.
I'm gonna be here, so get
Right.
used to.
That there you go. Right. Showing up
I'm
as your
gonna
full
be here,
right.
so
Showing up
we gonna figure
right.
we gonna have to figure this out.
Right. Maybe they'll rub off on you, you
Yeah,
know, you know, and maybe you'll rub off on them is actually what I meant. Maybe you'll rub off on them. Sometimes
yeah,
that's an influence is a big part of it. Like, what he was saying earlier about the influence and how we move with so much intention in everything we do, and we just we inspire a lot of things. So I think there's nothing wrong with that as well.
indeed, indeed.
Mhm.
Um, Malachi, this question: how often do you think about what others are thinking of you, or how they will receive you or perceive you when you walk in a room?
I'd say less often than before. Um, Only time I really think about how people will receive me is probably there's two times actually. One is when I step into a new environment. So
Hmm.
yeah, like a professional environment, I carry myself. I just stay quiet and listen. I'm more of like a listener. And then like when I'm about to release a song, like I'm like, how will they feel about this? Will it relate? That kind of thing.
Got it. Got it. Josiah.
Yeah, I really don't think about how people receive me. Like Malachi said, only when in professional settings. I think we all want to be presentable and be respectful and make a good first impression of ourselves. Because not only you representing yourself, but you're representing men like you, black men.
Hmm.
And I think it's good that you make that first impression. But And on the other hand, you want to be yourself. You don't want to overextend yourself and be something that you're not. Because I think a talent that we have as Black men is knowing the vibe in the room and knowing the body language of others that are not like us. We can tell when someone's just not feeling us, and we don't want to overextend ourselves. And I don't think we should. So I don't think about what other people think of me that much. I just try to be myself, and that should be enough. I mean, you just
Yeah.
you love it or you hate it. But you know how I was raised is growing up is to spread love and show love whenever, wherever, and be kind to one another, no matter who you are or where you come from.
Hmm.
That's who I am. But I'm never going to overextend myself and try to make others comfortable to the point where I'm uncomfortable. That's just not how it should be as Black men. I think we should be ourselves, and people should love us for ourselves. The world should love us for ourselves.
Understood. Understood. There's a large group of Black men who uplift our community of Black women and children. How do you express or address to Black women and Black children that they are important in this world, despite what the media tells them, and sometimes despite what our own community tells them? I'll start with you, Toby.
Well, I think when we talk about self confidence and instilling that, so that a couple of us have mentioned being able to walk with intention. Uh, I know folks that if we're going to get religious for a second, y'all got to forget. We get religious for a second. If you are confident that your soul is saved, you walk a different way. You walk a different way. It's just that's it. You have a confidence. It's like, hey, if I die today after I leave that door, I know one thing. I know that my soul is saved. I have salvation. I say this: if we're talking about education and knowing where you come from, I think it's a similar type confidence. It ain't salvation, but at the same time, you're going to walk a little bit different. You know that who the Black inventors were, what Black contributions have been to history, and things like that. I think that we growing up, we need to know that. We need to know that history. We got to know that history. We talk about, Chris had mentioned, uh, knowing police officers, folks, whether he didn't mention, I don't know if he said they were Black or white or both or what have you. Um, I'm the same way. I also know Black folks that served in the Army. So when people say, hey, who has made this country? We've made this country. We've helped make this country. So yeah, I'm gonna know my American history, but I'm also gonna know my Black American history, because when we talk about what this country's all about, it is all about, it's about us too. We're in there. We're in there. So knowing all of that, it kind of makes you walk a little bit different, right? You ain't wearing just the suit without you little flair or something. You do a little something, something. I always say this, Josiah had mentioned it, earlier, as far as walking in a certain way, and people knowing, I think somebody else said something about knowing the audience or what have you. The way I look at it, when we walk in a room, they are going to see you anyway. They're always going to notice you. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
stand out. They're going to see you. My mindset is this: I'm gonna give them something to look at. I'm gonna give them something to look at. I'm gonna give them. I'm gonna walk in a certain way. You're gonna notice me. You're gonna feel me. You're gonna feel me. That's the way I look at it. So, and back that up with knowing your history and being proud about it and being confident. So,
Indeed. Indeed. Stefan?
For me, I feel like it's kind of a two-part thing for me. It's one end, I'm trying to do it, and where I lead by example. Show it, like, lead by an example, as we are powerful. We have the power in ourselves. We are everything that we want to be, and we are everything that we think we are. And we don't have to use stereotypes or labels or anything from anyone else to label on us. And then on the other end, it's where it starts on the side of how we treat and how we speak to them, the language we use with them, the spaces we give them, what kind of environments we're creating for them. I feel like it's important on that end as well, because if we're speaking to them in certain ways, if we're treating them certain ways, if we're putting them in certain environments, creating certain spaces around them, that also changes their own perspective on themselves as well. So it's important that we are, mindful of how we speak and how we treat, the women and our children, because that forces us to, it'll make them think better about themselves as well, for forcing, better language on them, better environments on them, creating better spaces for them. So when they step into the uncomfortable spaces with, people who don't see them that way, they're confident in themselves because they were shown the love from the people who matter to them most.
Understood. Understood. Malachi?
Mm,
Malachi, can you hear us?
yeah.
Or are you
Just,
thinking? I'm sorry.
yeah, no, it's okay.
He was
No.
like, let me think about this for a moment.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Honestly, like it's about being comfortable, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
um not I don't really have anything to add. Like they pretty much covered everything, I feel like.
That's cool.
Hmm.
That's cool. That's cool. Chris, did you want to add anything?
I think just to tie into what these good brothers have said, it's giving giving those black women, other brothers, children, just the appreciation for the audacity of our authenticity. That comes with the love. That comes with our knowing our history. That comes with valuing ourselves, valuing each other. All of that ties in, and it's got to be something that's constant. It doesn't have to be something overt. It can be something daily. I can speak from my experience, and I know everyone else here. We didn't get this far without having at least one person show that to us in some form or fashion. So
Mm-hmm.
just really showing, improving with that love, knowledge of self, knowledge of history, and the appreciation for the audacity of our authenticity as black men, black women, black children.
Got it. Chris, what do you think the expectations of a black man is, or what those expectations are, um, in our relationships?
Mm.
Just kind of
Uh,
based off of what you just said, do you think do you feel like, and then there are these expectations?
I would say off the top, there's the expectation of being the leader or the pace setter, but also knowing when to let your partner dictate and lead as well. It's trying to have that knowledge that yes, you are building a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You're, whatever that role may be, not necessarily what has been taught to us, in terms of like this particular societal role and everything else, because no matter what background you might come from, it may look like, okay, you know, your mom, for me, my home was pretty much women dominated. I have four older sisters, two older brothers, my mom, dad. So I got both sides of what it is to have that balance. So
Okay.
as a black man, I learned you know how to lead, but you also know how to take guidance from someone else. And I think sometimes we tend to take all of that weight on ourselves, even in moments when someone else is like, look, let me help you. And we get taught to be told, heavily independent, heavily, no, I got it, I got it. And, when we realize we got to step back, sometimes that can imprint, pretty much infringe upon our health, both physically and mentally.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Toby, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think Chris killed that question.
Right?
Sorry.
He did. I was like, oh,
You know,
okay.
you start with that.
He did. I was like, well, I'm gonna ask, but I was like, okay, all right. Well, and with that, then what are some health self-care practices that you have? Because all the things that we've talked about tonight, it's a lot. Like we carry or layers. Like being a black woman, there's it's different, but there's still similarities. So for you gentlemen, what are some self-care practices that you do, or you feel like, you know what, let me start doing this, be it spiritually, intimately, what you eat, sleeping patterns, what are you doing? Sam, I'll start with you.
Um, I would say, and I can say this because I recently started to doing better. Eating healthier. Recognizing that am getting older. I'm 35, not too old, but I'm heading in that direction. So eating better, taking care of my body, aka the temple. So I can perform better, so I can show up better, so I can be better overall. So definitely eating better. um I'm big on on within and then going out. So like music is healing for me. Just putting on music, blasting music on a Saturday morning while I'm cleaning the house, that's healing my soul right there.
Mhm.
Putting some soul music on, just doing those simple things, getting in those routines, that's really healing for me. And then every once in a while, surrounding myself with other black men, in that with as like-minded like me, and just kind of hearing what they're saying, hearing what they're doing, and that's healing also. If you could connect with other men who can talk aside, about personal things aside from the norm. I think that's healing as well, to know somebody's there with you, somebody got your back.
Mhm.
Um and then um and then it's just the other parts of self-care. I think like Chris, growing up in a household full of women, you know it's okay to get your nails done, get a manicure. I know we all get our haircuts, we like to get fresh, we feel like $1 million. Looking good is feeling good. Maybe buying some new clothes, switching out the wardrobe, let me try something different. So all these different things, to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, is what I do.
Got it. Got it. um Toby, what you doing?
Yeah, when COVID happened, uh, we realized that, I mean, a lot of things were exposed, right? A lot of things were
Mhm.
exposed, and the one thing that was exposed to me was just how important communication was, not with family, but also like with my boys, like my brotherhood. So what we started doing was we start every morning. Every morning we contact each other through leaving video messages on a brotherhood chat. So it's a little small thing, but it over the entire COVID time, there we've been a lot of ups, been a lot of downs, but we've been able
Mhm.
to check in on each other, and I guess it kind of leads into um, what Sam was saying earlier. Hey, do things to kind of make you feel good. If that's music, if that's taking self care as far as manicures and things like that, but also talking, right, and just talking to other brothers and not being just stuck inside your head. I mean, a lot of us need a little bit of mental calibration from time to time. If you're down, you need a little bit of, and so, you know, Sam, you young man, you 35. You talking about you heading that direct, bruh? Stop it, stop it. I wish I was 35. Don't even start. I almost text the Lord and tell her to just kick you on off the show. Just
Right.
off.
He gotta go.
Yeah, I
He
don't want to hear it. Look, I'm 48. All right, we 48 over here. All right, so let me tell you this. Um, if I'm talking to people that are looking to get married, you should not get married unless you've had some kind of marriage counseling. All right, period. Throughout your marriage, throughout your marriage, and I've been married for years. I'm telling you, that's just a fact. If you are you working in these spaces, especially as a black man, your mental health is so important.
Mhm.
If you need therapy, and there's a good chance that you do, go get it. Go get it. Go get it. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no shame in it. I don't care where you're getting it from, but go ahead and get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's these type things that are important because, hey, I listen to music too. I'm all about I'm all about buying some new kicks, some new shoes, new suits to make myself feel good. I'm all about all of that stuff, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But if we want to think a little bit deeper, get a little bit deeper in the conversation, like why do we do the same? You know, what we do, make our, get to the core. And I just think there's a lot of healing that needs to happen with us. There's just a lot of healing needs to happen with us. I mean, too much to even talk about on this program with the time constraints that we have. But I just feel like the therapy part just needs to happen. And then for brothers that, for all of us on here, we all know brothers, right? We all know other brothers, and we know brothers going through ups and downs, but being available, reaching out, and then even asking the tough questions, even if it is uncomfortable, right? Asking the tough questions to make sure that they're okay, make sure that they are all right. And then hoping and praying and kind of they're going to pay us the same respect back when they see us down. Because you can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. So I'll leave with that.
I think that's great. Toby, I'll stay with you right here. I'm going to ask a couple more questions, and then we're going to wind up this segment. But what advice or how would you encourage the younger generation of young girls and boys and young women and men? Like, we won't talk about Sam, but we know about Sam, right? But those younger, they're the younger generations, because it's different. It's different. I just feel like there's just so much more that they have to deal with. So, what advice would you give, or how would you encourage?
Are you asking me, Laura?
I am.
Okay. All right. Okay. I just wanted permission. I just wanted permission.
I am talking to you, Toby.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Well, hey, I'll say this. Things are a lot different now than when we were younger. Social media has kind of totally changed the game. It doesn't, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
I think we have to be able to turn that noise off from time to time. And I feel like separation from social media for a little bit. I mean, I took a break from it for a year. I remember texting you, Lo, like, hey, you ain't gonna send me on here for a while. I'm okay. My phone number ain't changing. You need me. You know where to get me. I'm taking a break. And when I did that, man, it felt like life had color again. It felt like things felt a lot different for me. I realized how addicted I was to social media. Okay, so now re-engaging with social media, I do it differently. I do it differently. I just talk different. I look for different things. It's interesting, but I just think that that's one thing that we can do. I think the other thing we can do is we can't stop learning. We cannot stop learning. I think too many of us are comfortable where we're at, and we like, well, I know enough. I pay my taxes. I pay my tithes. I'm good. That ain't enough. You need to constantly learn. And you have the day. Every day is a gift. Learn something new. Talk to somebody new. I mean, we can't be stagnant. We cannot be stagnant. We have to continually grow. If it's new music equipment, meeting new people, new music to listen to, even the little things. So I think those are really great ways to start, expanding your horizons and optimizing the day. So.
Okay. Stefan, what advice would you give to your younger generation, the young kids that are coming up? This is what they're seeing. Your experience, and you are growing. What advice would you give?
I think, it's two things for me. The biggest things are communication and accountability. I feel like, first on the communication side, it's, learning how to communicate with people, knowing when to communicate. It's very important to understand how to be effective when you're communicating with people. So I feel like sometimes it's taken, for granted, the ability to communicate. We have language, we have that for a reason. and I feel like it's not used correctly in a lot of situations. So I feel like our people, young people, we need to learn how to communicate better with each other. And I also feel like accountability is something that we lack as a generation as well, because I feel like sometimes we make excuses for ourselves, or we don't take accountability for why certain things do happen to us. And obviously it's nuanced where certain situations is outside factors do come into play, but it's like we have to understand that there's certain things in our lives that we have to take control of and take accountability for. So if we want to grow, we have to understand that there is a part that we played in everything as well. So understanding that side as well is something that's very important. And then piggybacking off of the social media thing, you know, I grew up like at the start of when social media started blowing up, and seeing the difference of how society was then and now. It's like you know people are getting so lost in social media, like everyone is saying, and not realizing that you have to use it for what it is, and understanding that everything that we have on media is, we see what we are shown, and we see what we are allowed to see. People only show us what they want us to see, and understanding that and realizing that we have to be very careful about what we're taking in. It's very important to be mindful of what we're taking in as far as music, as far as what we're reading, what we're watching, everything like that is important as well. So using new social media and using everything, all our platforms, all of our resources, for what they are, and not using, getting too deep in them, or using them for things that they aren't supposed to be used for.
Got it. That's all good stuff. Very, very good stuff. Just for the sake of time, we're going to wrap this part of the segment up and get into the rest of the show. But from each person, just leave us with two words, two positive words, or two words of inspiration. What would those words be? And Josiah,
Okay, I would say two words. I would say forgiveness and acceptance.
got it, got it. Malachi,
My two words, I'll say be kind. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others.
okay. Sam,
My two words would have to be uplift and purpose. Um, and then I want to also kind of throw in this statement. My mom, she says a lot, but a lot of different things. But one statement that always kind of I always remind myself of is, each day have a good day on purpose. Try to have a good day
Mhm.
on purpose,
I like that.
and something so small but profound as well. So just want to leave that with you. So going into tomorrow, have a good day on purpose.
I received that. I received that. Toby,
Sam over here dropping knowledge. All right, all
you
right.
know I
I
listen.
mean, 35 nothing. I mean, my God. Okay. I wrote that down. I'm sorry. I wrote that
You know,
down.
I was like, I'm
Listen,
gonna have. I'm with
listen.
it. Have it
Mama
on
Green. I'm
purpose.
gonna put the quote. My Mama Green. Mama Green said, "Oh my
Yes.
goodness." All right. Did you ask me a question, Laura? I'm gonna answer
Your,
your question. All right.
your two words,
So
baby. Your
I'm
two
gonna
words.
answer the question.
Yeah.
My two words would be love and faith. Love and faith. I think those are, and love is infinite. Love, love, love. And faith that even as bad as things are right now, they will not get better unless we actually have the faith that things will get better. All right. So
Indeed.
love and faith.
Love and faith. All right, Stefan.
And I hate to steal your word here, Toby, but one of my words is love, and the other word is understand. But it's two very big things for me, just to lead with love, and try my best to be as understanding as possible. We live in a world with so many different people, so many different ways of life, so many different walks of life, so many different kinds of people, and it's important to try to just be as understanding as possible and always lead with love.
I receive it all. I receive it all. This was great. This was great. Um, Thank you, gentlemen. And now we're about to get into this third segment. Now you can relax a little bit, and we're going to get into some in between the bites. Now you know you're officially my co-hosts, plural. You all are my co-hosts. So we are about to get into in between the bites. So this like as I said earlier, this show is dedicated to Black men, and I want to talk about some great things some Black men are out here doing in our community. And um, first up here, this in between the bites segment, and we are going to talk about, or I am going to talk about, um, these brothers. Now, I think what you were saying earlier, Toby, you were talking about your like your chat group. This is a group of brothers who are out here doing it, and they are called Black Men Hike. Black Men Hike. It started in California. This group was created in 2019 and is an organization, like I said, in California, and that promotes mental and physical health by bringing Black men together in nature's breathtaking views, um, for conversation, connection, and peace. So if you're interested, if you know anybody who's in California and you feel like some brothers need some bonding, because I think it's a great thing. They go out and they meditate. They find different, I guess, for lack of better, different mountains that they climb in California or wherever they're climbing, and once they get to the top, then they have like a meditation and prayer moment or time once they get to the top. But as they do these hikes, of course, they're bonding, they're talking, or whatever it's needed. It's definitely it's definitely a cool thing and a great thing. So I just when I read about them, and I actually saw them, there was a segment they did that was covered, excuse me, on the Today Show, and I was like, "Yo, that's dope." And we don't see us hiking. We don't see us hiking. What say you? Sounds cool. I know, Jason. Jason says sounds cool. Jason said I bike. Okay. It's hiking, walking, Jane. But that's still cool. I'm trying to get invited to the hike. You know what, Natalie? The hike is for the brothers. I know, but it's for the hike is for the brothers. It's for the brothers. So okay. But I get it. But yeah, so their website is blackmenhike.org, and their IG is Black Men Hike. So if you want to support those brothers and what they're doing out here, please do. Please do. What y'all think?
I'm with it.
I'm with it too.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't been on a hike in a minute.
Likewise, I'm definitely down.
Right. Okay. So next up, this one I thought was interesting. Another group of brothers. These brothers are in Detroit.
Oh,
And y'all like, oh, what is it? Let me tell you, they making things happen. You know how anybody from Michigan or know about Detroit, Michigan? Let me tell you what's
yeah.
happening in Michigan, how they're handling business. They are handling it. So, community group, New Era Detroit. That's the name of the community group, New Era Detroit. Out of Detroit, Michigan, is an empowered group of Black men doing their part to protect Black women in their community. There's a clip if you have the opportunity to go on, just Google it, search for it, because I don't think I could have pulled up the clip, but there's a clip of New Era Detroit that is going around. It's been going around on social media. That's how I discovered it. Showing the members helping Black women load their cars with groceries and pumping gas. The local community group is armed as they protect Black women as they get around Detroit after dark, and that was in the post that I saw. So these brothers are walking. I mean, they're armed, and they're letting everyone know that they're armed. But they are protecting their community. So if they see Black women late at night out, pumping gas or after dark, they're assisting. You know what? Don't get out of your car. I'll pump the gas for you, or I'll help you to your car with your groceries. But I just thought it was interesting because their guns are out. I'm not sure, but they're doing it and there definitely has been the challenge. They've definitely been challenged on that as well. Um, they're saying before others or society try to make us out as vigilantes or bad black guys moving around Detroit with guns, let us be clear on what we are doing and also how the people of the community receive us while we are out. We are sick and tired of the senseless violence in year out in our communities. Some people may not like how we are moving, but at this point, it is what it is. Public safety in Black communities is a very serious issue, and we are sick of it. The safety and well being of the Black community is the responsibility of the Black man, and we stand on that. They go. Um, they're gonna want to call they're gonna want to call us a gang. They're going to want to call us a gang and make it seem like we are just some thugs with guns. So we are going to always keep the camera rolling to tell the truth, to tell the story. So they always have cameras on, but depending on the area and where they are, they feel they need to be protected. So, but they're protecting themselves and they're also protecting the community. Thoughts? Sharon says it is quote, it is what it is, new era Detroit. I know.
I like it.
I respect.
That's right.
I like it.
Yeah, it's like a positive task force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jason says, I see the hammer. You hilarious. I didn't see the hammer, but okay. I didn't see the hammer, but okay. But it's a thing, and they're doing it, and it's being received positively in the community. And listen, if that's what it takes, and they're not hurting anyone, it is that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the purpose with it.
Yeah, indeed.
Whoever I'm looking.
Whoever Detroit, respect to them.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I think it takes a lot. I think it even to do it, to pull something off and to get it's not just those few Black men that you see there. They really have like a task force. Like more men are joining. And now I think there are even women who are joining to help protect the community.
Right now.
Yeah, it's a movement.
Yeah. So it's definitely starting to get traction and more of it, especially being seen on social media. But then of course, for others who may not understand or see it a different way, that's when the fear sets in. But for them, we keep cameras rolling at all times, so no one can ever say anything. So I respect it.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Looking them up right now.
And if you want to donate, their Cash App is New Era Detroit, and their PayPal is at New Era DET 313. New Era DET 313. Listen, they're like, we got a Cash App. Help us.
Yeah, why not?
Have a PayPal. Help them. If you want to volunteer,
That's
it's
right.
volunteer at neweraworld.work today. So
New Era World.
they're not playing at all.
Nope.
Okay.
That's right.
Right. So we're gonna move forward, and we are going to get into the food lover in me. So the food lover in me. I discovered something today. I read about something. If you know me, you know I really love coffee, and I've been trying these different types of coffee, and I'm becoming a coffee snob. I'm like, oh, I won't drink that. That's not good. That's no. don't pour, please. Thank you so much. So, Starbucks. Starbucks has gone back to Italy. Starbucks has gone back to Italy, and Starbucks is now coming out with, which I think is really interesting. Starbucks is coming out with a new line of coffee, and it's called, right, Lioto Coffee Beverages. Lioto, I think that's how you say it. I might be saying that wrong. But Howard Schultz, who is the head of and discovered Starbucks, and Starbucks, listen, they've done it again. They have found more inspiration in Italy, this time in the sun-kissed olive groves of Sicily, with the introduction of a new line of beverages. And here it is. It's infused with extra virgin olive oil. Interesting.
Really?
Never thought about it, never thought about it, but that's what they're doing. The new beverages are making their debut today, 2/22/23, at the Starbucks Reserve Roastery in Milan and in Starbucks stores in Italy, followed by Southern California and the rest of the United States by spring. So later this year, select markets also in Japan and in the Middle East. So you have golden cold brew, a destructed golden cold foam, espresso martini, a cafe latte, and an iced shaken espresso. All of these with olive oil.
Wow.
Olive oil.
Olive oil.
Olive oil is very good for you.
It sounds interesting.
Tell him, Sam.
Right?
There goes that self-care.
Right?
Tell him, Sam. Let him know.
Olive oil is very good for you.
Right? We're like, oh, okay. So that's what's happening.
Different.
Right? It is. But, that's what Starbucks does. That's what they do over there. So now we're going to get into and going to move into some smash or pass. People, are you ready?
Oh, yes.
Favorite part of the show. Let's
It
go.
was interesting. It was very interesting, Nico.
Yep.
Yes, I'm telling y'all. I'm telling you. All right, so smash or pass, and here we go.
All right, let's hit it.
So I've never heard of this gin, and I can't find it, but Hendrix is great. So it's a Hendrix gin and an elderberry tonic water.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay.
So are we smashing or are we passing?
I think that's a smash.
I
think that's
say
a
it's a
smash.
smash.
That's a smash for sure.
Smash.
Wow.
I smash.
I'm just saying, Amazonia gin.
I mean, I never heard of it.
That's just kind of all like, you just expect to just drink that and just like be surrounded by orchids. Or just hear luau music.
Indeed. Yes, Jay. Yes, Hendrix. It is. It's so good. Indeed. So I think this is a winner. I think this is a smash.
Yes, elderberry is good for you.
I think that's it. All right. So, all right, people. Next up, here we go. Okay. Your face, you don't even know what it is yet. You don't even know what it is. So this is called, if you all could see their faces, I could see their faces in the background, but they're like, the answer is no. Don't even know what it is. They're like, no, pass.
That just looks like a bad combination of things. That just sounds like
I'm just saying. Let's see what it is.
It looks like leftovers in a pocket. What?
Yeah. What is that? Is that is it pita bread? Or?
Yeah, it's like a pita.
That
It's
just looks like a
called
bad spread.
Oliver Hot Dog. Oliver Hot Dog, and it's a mix of sauerkraut, Swiss cheese, and Thousand Island dressing,
Hmm.
smothered with French fries,
Whoa.
cheese curds, and gravy. This is
No.
definitely, I think
Oh,
it's got to be a Canadian dish. I'm going to pass. I'm
See,
not that
Pass.
fond of hot dogs.
You love sauerkraut.
Yeah, I
doing
might
too
have to
much.
pass.
Yeah,
You're doing
I have
too
to
much.
pass.
busting that
see,
sauerkraut.
Yeah, not after I eat, with the olive oil. I can't do that.
You're
What are we
that
doing
is
here?
not mixed with olive
I
oil.
just
It gave me hope because it said Oliver, so I thought, they were going
Nah,
somewhere.
that just looks like a bad night in Fort Wayne, Indiana to me. I'm just sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
passing that like
yeah,
Magic
okay.
Johnson.
Because is that a vegan hot dog? Like, what? I need some more
Ain't
detail.
nothing vegan.
There's no sauce on this.
No,
Is that
Yeah,
a pita?
no
Is
sauce.
Mm-mm.
That
that
question.
a pita roll? Is that like a
Right,
pita
it's
roll?
not even a traditional hot dog bun. It's really throwing me.
They put it in pita
This is
bread.
like
All
That
right.
can't be healthy.
like a multicultural hot
Yes.
dog.
yeah, there's nothing traditional about that,
No.
Joker.
No,
That's not it.
Oh, nope.
right?
So we're gonna say I think this is unanimous. This is a pass. So we're
Yeah.
going to pass.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
our last one for the evening is
Mm.
How did you become a sports reporter?
not for him. Wait, hold on. Wrong one. Wrong one. I know. I was like, oh yeah, no, nope, nope, wrong one. And hold on one second. This is a hot dog too, and I can't find. You know what, guys? I think I this has happened. This happened before. That things don't. It doesn't always load up, and it doesn't like me
I,
very much.
I think you're. I think the next food got offended by this.
It did. It
Yeah.
that clip was like, you know what? I'm just not even playing. I'm just not even going to play. So it's not going to play, and we're just going to let it be that. And so we're going to leave it at
It's
those.
still offended. It's
It's offended. It left. It was like, you know what? I'm not even playing. So literally, I'm not even going to play.
I'm mad at the way you set that up. We could have started with that hot dog first.
Yeah.
I'm mad at the whole thing.
Right.
This the wrong
Right.
order. We don't put them things in, and now
It
now
did. It
I
was
got
like
a bad
that.
taste in my mouth now. Now I'm looking for a stick of gun or Altoid over here. I gotta work
Yeah.
something out over here for me. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
it just said no. The answer is no.
Hey, well, at least I know what to look out for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like no, nothing.
Right.
You know what that hot dog picture reminded me of?
What?
You know that video that's going around? It's like, get somebody else to do it. That's what
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, yeah, it did, but you had to try. See,
Yeah, it
some
was-
people might say,
it was just-
what? I'm a sauerkraut lover, and they would
It
do
was
it.
it was just all over the place.
It was.
Yeah.
There's a lot
It was
going
sitting
on.
on a taco stand
Yeah.
in pita bread.
Sam,
With the-
look, Sam.
That's where I normally
It's a
see the
hot
tacos
dog.
at.
It's a hot dog
Bread.
doing too much. It's a hot
Yeah,
dog
it's like a
doing too
dog
much.
went and said, you know what?
I mean,
I
that's
think
like
it's time for something
that's
new.
like when Little Mama crashed the stage with Jay-Z and Alicia Keys.
Stay in your lane, right? Stay in your lane.
Stay
Unnecessary,
in
not
your
needed.
lane.
Please have a whole row of
Mhm.
seats. It's unnecessary.
Oh,
You do too much.
Yeah.
like exactly. Sharon says exactly. Somebody else do it. I'm not gonna do it. Yes, somebody else do it.
Yeah, it was the dryness for me though. It could've- if it's gonna be a hot dog, throw some ketchup on it, throw some mustard, make it, I'm still probably gonna pass, but at least sell it a little bit better.
At least,
Right.
at least, at least.
Just leaving the,
Well, we are going to. This is the end of the evening. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for being here. If you haven't, again, subscribe to Food Worth Forking. Subscribe to the podcast. Hit the bell, so you can get those notifications when new content and new episodes are up. I want to thank each and every one of you, gentlemen, for being here, for being transparent, for sharing. And we may have to do this again sometime soon. So, but I appreciate it. And I do believe everyone here who has been here tonight. Yes, appreciates it. Natalie says, yes, this was great. Bring them back. This was great. Yes, this was a great. Thank you. Yes, it was great. So any last words? Anyone have anything? Because I have one last thing I want to share with everybody before we're out of here. But anyone have anything?
No,
Good?
I'm good.
I'm
You
good.
can all come back just
Yeah.
as long as there's no hot dog like that.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yes.
That's not self-care.
No,
That's
we-
Not
Right.
Exactly.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, that's self-punishment.
All right. There you go.
Back.
Okay.
I would hope yes.
All right. Well, I want to leave us all on a high note. There's a young man that an interview that I saw, and I just thought it was so sweet, and it was that moment of hope and like, yes, this is who we have to. We're paving the way. All of us here are paving the way for our young boys and girls, and we're continuously doing that and creating a space for them to be a little more free than we are, allow them to dream a little bigger than we have, and that what we're doing. And this young man is definitely doing that. So before I get out of here, again, subscribe to the podcast. You can find Food Worth Forking on IG at Food Worth Forking. Food Worth Forking on Twitter and on Facebook. So I'm going to leave you with this video. And until we eat again, make it food worth forking.
Like that. I like that.
How did you become a sports reporter?
Well, it all started when I was 4 years old because I was told to my parents that I might not be able to play contact sports because I have a brain defect and a detached shoulder bone. But I made a deal with my parents that I would play 3 sports, football, basketball, and t-ball, all for 1 year. Once I was done with that, I wanted to hone my craft in journalism and broadcasting. And I kept asking my mom if I could make my own YouTube channel commenting on the Raiders, but she said no because they were in California at the time.
You know your stuff, sir.
So when they moved back to Las Vegas, I kept getting honor rolls in school and stuff, and then she let me make my YouTube channel in 2020.
You deserve it.
But I also have something else to say, because that's what started it. But what's really driving me is because I want to make my parents proud at a young age, because my mom she has very much health issues, and my dad is a senior citizen. So I want to make them proud at an early age, because most kids, they think that their parents are going to last forever, for the rest of their childhood. But when I was 5 years old, my mom almost died. I had to save my mom's life at the age of 5 years old because I knew that something was wrong with her. So I told my grandma to take her to the hospital. And, they said that if she wasn't there 1 minute later, she would have died. And for a month, I didn't see my mom because she was in ICU, and those were the worst 30 days of my life. But
That's so hard.
But I had a long talk to God, and I told him, if you can bring my mom back, I will be the greatest son that I could ever be.
You'll make me cry. Well, I'm certain your mama is proud, because I'm proud. We're all proud of you.
Thank you.
You always look so nice and professional, and I see you have this thing with a collection of ties.
Yeah, it all started when I was 2 years old, where I wore a tie to my uncle's wedding, and I don't know, I always thought I would look good in the tie, so when I got into journalism and I always saw these people had tuxedos with suits and stuff and the ties, I had said that I wanted to wear them. So my mom bought me this big tie collection, and my favorite bow ties that I have are called Designed by Dawn. Yeah, I like them very much.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, we love you to be happy with what you like. So can we give you one? Because I got a little gift for you right here.
Ooh. Ooh.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Okay. And since you're a Raiders fan, I got a little something else for you. Can I give you another little something?
Yeah.
Oh, we got something good for you. The Raiders. There you go, son. This is for you, okay? you so much, Jeremiah.
Hold up, before we go.
He said before we go, you go and tell him.
I know that I'm a journalist, but can I step out of my lane a little bit?
Sure, yes, you can.
I don't know if I'm ever gonna get this opportunity again. Can we sing a song together?
Oh, baby, what we singing?
When we start?
Yes.
You might want to stand up for this.
Okay, do I need to stand up?
You might want to.
Okay, I'm getting up. Oh, he done called me out. Woo, Jesus.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
All right. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me.
You better sing.
Walk with me, Lord.
Sing, hey.
Walk with me while I'm on this tedious journey.
Lord. Sing it, son.
I need Jesus to walk with me.
Should we tell everybody sing?
Yeah,
Wait,
your
okay.
turn.
Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me while I'm on this tedious journey, Lord. I want Jesus to walk with me. You better sing! I love that song. Thank you so much for listening. Will you come back and see us and walk with us?